Welcome to the Rise to Shine podcast with Noelle Kustas, where we ignite the spark to discover your favorite self. It is time to get real, ladies. Hello, and welcome back to the Rise to Shine podcast. I'm your host, Noelle Kustas. And today I need to get so real with you about something that has been weighing very heavy on me. It has been coming up in so many conversations because honestly, this is just an emotional topic. As a matter of fact, today I literally cried after hanging up from a 3.5 hour Zoom call. And I realized the text messages that started coming in right after that call, it's not just me who is feeling the weight of all of this screen time. It's the weight for everyone. I see it in my kids too. My daughter, who is 23 years old and working on her master's, told me the other day that she wants to get a flip phone. A flip phone, you guys. And I get it. Because here's the thing, everything she does is online. Her classes, her assignments, even the books that she has to read. And she is exhausted from the screens. It's too much for her mental health. She feels like she's supposed to be available to everyone all the time. And then when she can't keep up with all of it, she starts avoiding people. And then what it does is it ends up in this vicious loop of falling further behind and feeling even more disconnected. And then my son, he's the president of his junior class. His phone is literally buzzing constantly. And I see the pressure on him to always be on, to always respond, to always be reachable. And I cannot help but to notice it feels so much heavier than it did 10 years ago. We are burned out. We are fatigued. We're numbed out. That is definitely a thing. And I'm finding that the common denominator, you guys, it's screens. Whether it is social media, television, the iPad, it's the endless emails, it's the text messages, or it's even like the late night games that I am guilty of playing. This screen time has become our new secret addiction. It's this thing that we keep tucked away, telling ourselves, it's not that bad. Everyone's doing it. But here's the truth. For some of us, it's part of our work. For others, it's how we numb out at the end of a long day. But no matter what camp you fall in, the result is the same: exhaustion, distraction, and disconnection from ourselves. Disconnection from ourselves. So today we're going to talk about it. We're going to name it, and then we're going to get really practical because I don't want to just talk about the problem. I want to, you know me, I love to give you tools that you can actually use to reclaim your energy, to reclaim your focus, and that spark that I always talk about. Because I'm going to be, again, super honest with you. I feel like I've been losing my spark a little bit. I feel like I have been numbing out. I have been really in a place where I am on the phone constantly for my social media because it is part of my job and it just like feels like it's adding up. So this episode is as much for me as it is for you. And I hope that you will tune in and take a listen, especially if this is tugging at your heart or if you're noticing this happening to somebody you know and you love. So let's just call it for what it is, because the fatigue is real, the burnout is real, the numbing out is real. How many times have you promised yourself just 5 more minutes? Just 5 more minutes of scrolling, and then suddenly 30 minutes or even an hour are gone. And then you wonder, where did my night even go? Where did my evening go? How many nights have you reached out for your phone because it was easier than facing your own thoughts, facing your own feelings, or that silence that has now started to feel uncomfortable for us? How many of how many times have you felt drained, anxious, or even angry after being on social media? Yet you go right back for more, hoping that maybe this time will feel different. Maybe I'll do it differently this time. I'm just not going to look at the posts that trigger me. I'm just going to slide by them. I mean, I'm raising my hand because I'm serious. This is me on a daily lately. And I'm not like super proud of this. I'm not, because I talk about the value of time and spending time with our families, like really leaning into your values. And here I am finding myself caught in my own loop. And I'm going to promise myself not to cry in this one because it already starts to bring tears to my eyes because I feel it so deeply right now. And then there's what my daughter was talking about that I hadn't even really thought of is the constant access people think they have to us at all times of the day and night. And again, here I am. I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm guilty of it. Like, if I remember something that I need to get a message to somebody, I will like text them or message them thinking, well, hopefully they have their phone off and it doesn't wake them up. If I send this text, there's not like a ding at 11 o'clock at night. But then, see, this is where I just like want to cry because I'm like, but then here I am also remembering how many times do I have the phone like by my bedstand, which is a no-no, by the way. And I know better than that, but I've been doing it lately, charging my phone next to me. So please don't come at me for why that's not good for you, because I do know that. So that's something I need to change again. But I'll hear that ding. And then instead of being able to just go, just ignore it, Noelle, I look at it. And then it like makes me get out of my, it makes me kind of get out of my, like I'm just starting to fall asleep. And so it gets me out of that state of rest, I guess you could say. So there's like emails, there's DMs, there's texts, there's group chats. Don't even get me started on the group chats. My brother is like, do not include me on those things. He gets so mad because it's just ding, 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 ding. And then my husband, on the other hand, he loves the group chats because it's so much more efficient. So there's this unspoken expectation that because we have the device, we owe people the reply. That because they can reach us, we must be available. And the truth is that the constant accessibility is exhausting. God forbid if you don't answer somebody for a few hours, they start to panic and freak out. Are you okay? Is everything okay? I mean, it's wild if you really sit and think about it. I mean, it's just not a distraction. It's feeling like it's this erosion. It's like these screens are just chipping away at our clarity. They chip away at our confidence. They chip away at our ability to be fully present in our own lives. How many of you, the phone is the first thing you touch in the morning, or the last thing that you hold at night, or both? And the very thing we cling to when life feels overwhelming, what do we cling to? We cling to the phone. We cling to a screen. And deep down, we know it's not serving us, but we keep doing it anyway. That's why I call it the secret addiction. It is. It's an addiction. A few weeks ago, I remember one of my favorite people, who is my online buddy that I don't even know in person, but I feel like he's my friend, Carlos Whitaker, he was talking about if you are feeling rage from being on your screens because of what you see or what you're having access to, get off the screen. And it seems like it would just be so easy, right? But not when it's an addiction. And the sneaky part of all of it is it looks harmless from the outside. We tell ourselves, I'm just checking in, I'm just relaxing, I'm just staying connected. But in reality, it's draining us, it's keeping us stuck. It's stealing our focus, it's stealing our time away from our friends, our family, our creativity, and then ultimately our joy. We're not just numbing out anymore, we're checking out. It is a way to check out. And then when we do that, we miss the very moments that are right in front of us. Sorry, I'm just taking a pause because whew, it just feels so heavy. And it hits women really hard because we already carry so much, you guys. You carry so much. It's like this invisible load, the caregiver, the emotional labor, the countless roles that we play in our homes, our careers, our communities. And now, on top of all that, we're expected to be constantly accessible. At work, we don't want to seem unresponsive because that would be rude. With family and friends, we don't want to disappoint anybody. On social media, sometimes we're feeling like we have to keep up or we have to stay visible, we can't miss out on anything. And then when we do try to pull back, that guilt sets in. The fear of being left out, the fear of being left behind or letting someone down. It starts to hit some of us, not all of us. But when my daughter was having this conversation with me, I related to it so much. And here's the thing. Our intentions are so good. We hop on because we just want to check in with a friend, or we want to answer a quick message, or we want to respond to that email. And maybe even it's to stay informed because maybe you don't want to watch the news anymore. You don't want to watch television anymore. So you kind of rely on the social media or the news that you find on your phones, like the independent people that you're following that are your sources. You want to stay informed. So none of this starts out with like bad motives for the majority of us, right? I mean, I hope I'm not talking to anyone in this audience that sits behind their screen and sits on the keyboard and, is using it for not good. It's not about bad motives, but I see us just slowly slipping away. I don't know how else to put it. And let me also just say this too, because I do get it. Obviously, I'm sitting here like trying to hold back every tear because I am so fatigued right now. Sometimes it really is more convenient to send a quick text than to make a call. You want someone to know that you're thinking of them. I mean, how many of you are like trying to be more intentional and you're like, I want when they cross my mind, I want to send them a text and just let them know I'm thinking about them. And you know that I don't have 30 minutes or an hour for a full conversation. And then there's even the complication of like I started doing voice notes because some people love voice notes. But then you get into this like weird thing because some people are like, I don't really love the voice notes. I like the text better. Some wish you would just pick up the phone because they're like, I don't want to text. I don't want to have a voice note. I want you to call me. It just feels like no matter what you choose, it's never quite enough. And I don't want to come from victim mentality here. I'm just wanting to lay it out the realities and if you are relating to any of this because maybe I'm not describing you perfectly, but maybe there are parts of this that you're like, yes, that's me. Because I do think that there are layers to this. There are different layers that are different for everybody. But this is how we're all changing. What's convenient for one person isn't convenient for another person. And so, even with our best intentions, connection gets lost in translation. I know we're all doing our best, and yet the very tools that were supposed to connect us, I feel like are maybe starting to pull us apart. These devices that keep us plugged in also do leave us completely disconnected. And then we hide behind the screens instead of having real conversations. We watch relationships unravel because of what's posted or what's shared. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. Before, I remember it was always just about the, comparing what's really going on and what's like really happening behind the scenes. That was always the biggest talk, but I think it's even deeper than that now. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, okay, we send a text instead of asking how someone's really doing. And then we're wondering why we feel so unseen because people are doing the same. And again, it's not to be hurtful, but it's just this like weird space. It's almost like it's just stealing our intimacy with each other. It's stealing like the presence that we used to have with each other in the quote unquote good old days. And I see it quietly ripping friendships apart, families apart, even our own sense of self is getting ripped apart a little bit. And again, this might not be all of you, but I know that every single one of you listening right now can relate to this in some way, shape, or form. And I'm going to go back to that word erosion because it's not just about wasted hours. It is becoming about erosion, about slowly losing ourselves. And that is why I feel like this matters so much. That's why I feel like we need to have conversations around this and we need to be honest around it. And I don't want us to feel shame around it because we're all juggling it. We're all trying to figure it out. So, you know me, I love when I can like dig in and maybe offer up some tangible tools, maybe some anchors that you can anchor into. And again, I'm speaking to myself, but I started doing a little bit of research on this today because I was like, what is it that we could do? What are some small steps? Because we are here and we are caught in this complicated tension. So we can't just throw our phones out the window. I mean, I know my daughter would like to, although she would be sad ultimately, right? Like that's the funny irony in it. You're like, I want to throw this phone. And then you're like, but wait, I can't live without you. And again, I'm not just talking about phones. I am talking about all screens, right? And we can't all go back to flip phones, even though some days, again, I think we'd like to. But this is really the world that we're living in. And as much as it hurts, as much as it drains us, as much as it numbs us out, screens are woven into our work, our families, our friendships, our everyday lives. So the question becomes, what do we do when the things that's connecting us is also hurting us? So the answer for me, at least, has been learning how to anchor myself. How can I start setting better boundaries to reset, to protect my peace in the world that's always asking for more? And that's exactly what I want to share with you. So, again, those tangible anchors you can use to reclaim your focus and your energy, that spark, even while living in this very like saturated world, I should say screen saturated world. So this is where, again, I always like to say, grab those journals, open your notes app, whatever you got, because I don't want you to just hear me talk about this. I want you to walk away with those tools that you can actually use. So anchor number one is a screen reset ritual. Let me explain. Choose one no phone zone in your life. Maybe it's the dinner table. Maybe it's your bedroom. Maybe it's the first hour of your morning. I want you to really guard that space and make it sacred. Like, really, really guard the space. So you can tonight charge your phone in another room and just start with that. It's like those stackable habits where we start with one boundary and we keep it. Like, we really, really keep it. Anchor two is a digital Sabbath. Like, ooh, this hits hard. Some of you might even go, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can. Like, if you're feeling that, I feel you. Because as much as I don't want to admit it, as much as I want to be like, I don't want to look at my phone. I was just telling my son last night when we were talking, I said, oh my gosh, I feel like my dream would be for 3 days to just have me and my little family somewhere away from all the work and our regular lives and just put down our phones and just have solid quality time together without a screen. Isn't it interesting how that is like, that's a dream now for us? So, a digital Sabbath would be pick one window of time each week. And you can start small. Okay. I don't want you to think like, oh my gosh, I have to do it for the whole day. No, pick one day of the week, even just 2 hours if you want to start, where the phone is off and not just the phone is off, but life is turned on. So as you're building this muscle, stretch it into a half day, then go into a full day. Put it on your calendar if you have to. No screen time from 2 to 4 p.m. on Sunday. And then make it a date with your real life. So, some of you might go, oh, I go hours without looking at my phone. But is it hours that you are turning on your life and doing something that brings you joy? I want you to think about it more than just, oh, I'm going to turn it off for however. And maybe you are someone that turns it off for a couple hours. Stretch it out now to be half a day. Stretch it out to be a full day. See how it makes you feel after you try that on. But in addition to that, turn your life on a little bit more. Turn it on high gear a little bit. Or, maybe that means it's time to just rest and enjoy rest and give yourself permission for that. Anchor three is boundaries with access. Okay, this is a tough one. This is tough for my husband. I'm going to say that. If you know my husband, you know that like if you text him, if you call him, I promise you, you will have a response 9 times out of 10 within 30 minutes. Like that is for real. But I want to tell you that you do not owe anyone instant access to you. I always tell him, you have trained your people to believe that they have instant access to you. Excuse me. Practice delayed replies. It is okay to say, I'll get back to you tomorrow. I'll get back to you later. Now, is it important to reply something? Like, this is where I tell my daughter, because my daughter's like, see, why do I have to reply? I don't have to reply instantly. I'm like, okay, no, you don't have to, but like acknowledge something. Even if you have to set an autoresponder or a text shortcut that says, hey, I'll respond when I'm back on later. Thanks for your patience. Let people learn your rhythm. We actually had to put codes for my daughter, 23-year-old. I had to say, okay, if I put an exclamation point ahead of my message, that means you have to get back to me as soon as possible. If I put a check mark before the message, that means I need to hear from you within 24 hours. Like, because these are important. If I don't have anything, then that's on you. Obviously, it's not something I need right away. But sometimes there are emergencies, right? So, I mean, we still have to acknowledge people. So maybe it is about like, it is about having codes. Anchor 4, replace the numb. Notice when you reach for your phone to escape. And instead of scrolling, choose a reset that actually restores you. So here's your tool. Create what I call a numbing alternatives list. Maybe it's a 5-minute walk. Maybe it's just some stretching, some journaling. Maybe you have a book next to your bedstand. Whatever that is, be ready to have something in place of the scroll. So when that urge hits that you're ready to scroll, do something else. Have a little list of what's something else I can do right now. Because sometimes it's just our habit, it is our addiction. And again, I guarantee you my family is going, well, are you going to actually follow these? So I have to be accountable to this too. This is why I was doing the research today, because I was like, what can I do? I know some things, but I just don't stick to them. All right, Anchor 5, audit your feed. Okay, this is something I feel like is so important. I have been doing this lately. Look at who you're following and ask, does this lift me or does this drain me? I want you to think about the television you're watching. What Netflix series are you watching? Are you watching something that is lifting you up or are you watching something that's draining you? If it drains you, unfollow, mute, stop watching that show. Protect your peace. This has been a game changer for me recently, a game changer. You guys, there's a couple of shows that I started watching. One in particular, and this was like a year or two ago because I really started leaning into this auditing my feed. Because I laugh because I go, "Oh, my algorithms are so different than what so many other people experience." And that's because I create that for myself. Now, I will tell you recently, I'm like, oh, my algorithm has changed and I need to like get back on track. But going back to a show that I was watching, it was a series on Hulu. And oh my gosh, I think there was like 6 or 7 seasons. I watched the first 4 seasons like faithfully and I would binge watch them to numb myself out and because I was like fascinated. But you guys, I started almost feeling like I was becoming one of the characters, the main character. Not becoming her, but like moving like her. Like just because she kind of got into this like almost like zombie state of just like, I'm gonna hang up my clothes. I'm gonna go to bed. Like, and I was in my closet one morning and I did that. I just kind of like hung up my clothes. I did it. Ooh, it gives me the chills just talking about it because it freaked me out. I was like, oh my gosh, I am starting to like fall into this role. I am starting to feel like I am her. And it weirded me out so much that I have not yet watched the last 3 seasons because I was like, I can't. And if I do, I cannot do it in a binge. Like, I gotta just like watch it like a show at a time. Like, don't get yourself so caught up in it because it messes with our brains, you guys. So, tangible tool would be unfollow 2 to 5 accounts that don't bring you joy or encouragement on your cell phone. Go through what you're watching and really ask yourself, is this bringing me life? Is this bringing me goodness? Or is this draining me? Is this making me mad? Am I feeling exhausted by this? And if you are, I dare you to stop. or take a break. Start there. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. I know that these anchors aren't going to make the screens go away, but they are going to give you back a sense of choice, and it will help you to reclaim your energy. I am trusting with some of the new anchors that I have researched and thought I'm going to lean into myself. I am going to remind myself that the world is demanding more, yes. People expect more access to us, but I am the one who actually gets to decide how much of myself I want to give away and to whom. And I want you to remember the same. Because here's the truth, the screens aren't evil and they're not going away. There can be so many beautiful things. My mom and I'm just going to tell you, this is side note, but my mom and I, about, I don't know, once every few days, we get on a roll and we have all these funny memes that we have on social media, like with animals or with babies, or I know there's one that like we laugh at and it's not very nice, but like when people scare each other and like their reactions. Anyways, this is kind of like dark humor, but it's not really. Like there's really funny things. And we will send each other memes. And again, you create an algorithm, right? Because then all of a sudden all those kinds of things keep popping up for a little bit. My mom and I will like literally be laughing so hard at each of our houses from the things that we're sending to each other that we have tears rolling down our face and our families are thinking we're nuts. Sometimes it's late at night and I'm trying not to laugh out loud so hard, but it like gives me the belly laugh. So there are things that are good too. So screen time is not all bad. I'm not here to say it's all bad, but I'm also asking you to reflect on how you are using it. And I'm giving you permission to say, I don't always have to be on. You don't have to answer every single ping, every buzz, every DM. You don't have to keep being exhausted and, numbing yourself. You don't have to do that. What you can do is choose one anchor today, just one. Maybe it's the leaving your phone out of your bedroom tonight. If that freaks you out because it's the only phone line at home and you want it close in case of emergency, maybe it's just putting 2 hours on your calendar this weekend to step away from it and live your life for those 2 hours. Maybe it's unfollowing some accounts that chip away at your confidence, chip away at your joy, your happiness. Whatever it is, just pick one and start there. And if you're listening right now and you're going, oh my gosh, this is me, this is my life, I needed to hear this, then please know this, you are not alone. That's why I was doing this, because I'm hearing it everywhere. We're all trying to navigate this together. I would love to hear some of your ideas. Maybe you have some great ideas of things that we can do to help with this screen time and this addiction. Please slide into my DMs. See, here I am. Slide into my DMs. Respond. But you know what? I get to choose when I want to read them. That's okay. That's my point, is they're not going away, but we get to choose how we're going to use it, when we're going to use it. And I do want to tell you that in the Glow Up School throughout the holidays and in the months ahead, we're going to be leaning all the way into these conversations because we're going to be talking about how to bring joy back, how to reset instead of running ourselves into the ground. Because sometimes we're like, gotta finish strong. And oh my gosh, we've got all the holidays and all of this and all of that happening. And we think we just have to go, 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 go. And I'm like, nope. We're going to focus on how can we reset. I'm actually leading an in-person workshop where instead of finishing the year in that like drive, racing ourselves to burnout, we're going to re-engineer it and we're going to do the opposite. We're going to reset. There's so much data around this that is so good, you guys. So if you want or you need a deeper dive with this, join us in the Glow Up School. Join us right now. This is a perfect time. Try us on for the last few months of the year and give yourself the gift of getting a handle on this. Join me on Instagram. We'll do this together. And again, you get to choose. I'm hoping that I can be a space where I am bringing you joy and I'm bringing you life, if that's what you choose. Because your worth, this is always what I love to remind women of, your worth isn't measured by how quickly you reply, how many people you keep up with, how available you are. Your worth is in who you are when the screens are off. Who you are when the screens are off. So let's reclaim that spark. Let's reclaim that peace and our presence. I promise you, your family will notice it. You will notice it. The people around you will notice it. Screens don't get the last word. We get the last word. We do. So again, I would love to hear from you. I don't think this conversation is over. I think it is a continuous conversation that we can have and we can help each other with. So can't wait to see what you anchor in today. If you want to share, please do. And then, of course, as always, until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and remember today is right here waiting for you. Bye, friends. See you next week.
Thanks for joining me here today. Your presence means the world to me. If you enjoyed what you heard, please consider leaving a rating and review, and don't forget to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Head to the show notes and let's connect. Rise to Shine Co. is ready to support you in coaching, collaboration, life tips, or even a coffee chat. Until next time, keep shining, my friends.